Update on Russell Greer. After the Supreme Court had denied us writ of certiorari, uh, we go back to the local court and have to make a decision about what we're going to do from there. And obviously, our most immediate concern is that we should do something to dismiss the case. That would be the most expedient way to resolve that. Um, and if I repeat myself in saying this, I apologize. But for those who are not following along or don't listen often or just don't remember the legal stuff, in litigation, there is a concept called want of prosecution, which is when you have a plaintiff, a pursuing party, the aggressor, who is not fulfilling their obligations to progress the litigation. So generally, defense parties might do stuff to stall out the litigation, to try and delay things and be as obstinate and as possible to delay proceedings and cause people headache because they don't want to be involved in litigation and they can't just get out of it. It's uncommon for the plaintiff to do that because the plaintiff is trying to get the end result, which is the resolution of the litigation. In Russell Greer's case, he filed a complaint and invoked litigation. He tied me into a lawsuit. Since then, for 4 years, nothing has happened in the case. He has never had a lawyer representing him except at the appeals, and he has not done the bare minimum to progress the case closer to trial and to eventual resolution. The problem is that saying the case should be dismissed for want of prosecution is a big ask because it is a prejudiced dismissal. Meaning, if he sues us for copyright infringement or contributory copyright infringement, and the judge says, well, he hasn't done enough to pursue the case, therefore we're going to dismiss it for want of prosecution, it means that he can't refile it. There are some mistakes where you can get the case dismissed, but then they can refile it. Like, for instance, if you file in the wrong state. Not so with want of prosecution. So asking for want of prosecution is a big deal because you're effectively saying, I want this shit thrown out and never brought up again. And to do that, the offending party, the plaintiff, has to be really, really fucking up. So the reason why we asked after the Supreme Court thing is that Russell Greer has repeatedly been asking one step after the other for delays. And magically, through no fault of our own, he's been getting them. There's been something happening where the court just doesn't respond timely, or there's like a venue transfer confusion, and he just continually asks for new stays, which has been going on since January, and it's now April, and nothing has happened. There has been like 60 plus filings added to the case, and nothing has happened. And that is because one of the very first things that has to happen in a case, once the complaint comes in and once the answer is filed, which we've already filed, is that there is a case management conference. And the opposing counsel of both sides meet and they say, okay, well, we know that a court case has XYZ components. We'll do X at this date, Y at this date, and Z on this date. And then they can look at their schedules and go, well, I have court on that day. We can do it the day after. And they sort out the case and how they're going to handle everything leading up to the trial. And, you know, they usually schedule things out a year in advance and you move on. But when your plaintiff is Russell Greer and it's an insane person, that never happens. So Russell Greer has never done a case management conference. And Hardin has complained about this repeatedly. Because, again, this is the most fundamental first step to the case. There is no itinerary. There's no schedule. Nothing is scheduled to fucking happen because he's not done the case conference. And usually the court, if no case conference happens, will force the parties to meet at an arranged place. Like they'll literally say, be here or be square. It is so fucking ordered, and both parties have to show up and do their conference. That hasn't happened yet either. Hardin brought this up and brought up that certain things haven't happened, such as witness disclosures, which happens after the management conference, 14 days after. And these disclosures are made between the parties. So he says he hasn't filed his disclosures. There, and as an example of one of the many, many things that has not happened to make the case proceed forward, Greer, after this want of prosecution dismissal is filed in the court, Greer files his own motions immediately after, literally the next day. The first one is he files his disclosures. The problem is that you don't file your disclosures. You send them by email. You don't have to actually submit it as a motion in the court. Which he would have known if he had just asked. If he had just done his case management conference, he would know that, but he doesn't. So he just filed some random bullshit that means nothing. And additionally, his motion, his disclosures say, I don't want to disclose anything, which is not how you do that. That's basically contempt of the court when you file your disclosures and you say, I have all these disclosures to make, but I don't want to make them because the Kiwi farms is very scary. That's contemptuous. The other thing that he filed was a venue change motion. We are in year 4 of this case. It has already been transferred from Utah to Florida, and he's asking them to transfer it now to Nevada. So year 4, no case management conference. Let's move this somewhere else. After it's already been moved to Florida, where he had the chance to oppose the move to Florida with his own thing, which could have said, let's not move it to Florida because he lives out of the fucking country. Let's move it to Nevada instead. That didn't happen. So our side, Hardin, says we should dismiss this because he's not filing anything meaningful. And then his reaction is to literally stay up overnight. And he writes these, by the way, I figured it out. He writes his motions on his phone, I'm pretty sure. So he takes out his iPhone and writes out a legal document on it overnight. And it says, first of all, it files something completely stupid and just says, I don't want to tell you the things that I need to tell you because I don't want to. And then also, let's move this to Nevada anyways, because why not? I don't want to be in Florida. Florida sucks. It's hot. It's got alligators and shit. Fuck that. Move it to Nevada. It's got hookers there, and that's what I want. So it's complete fucking insanity. His response is literal fucking insanity. And I think that his response, even though he's trying to say, like, no, really, I'm totally proceeding. Look at me. I'm filing things that really matter this time. I think that what he's done is probably a evidence. Like, no, really, this case is not going to go fucking anywhere. It will sit on this docket like a gastrointestinal blockage for the next 10 fucking years, unless somebody dismisses it. That's so that's the update with that. It's really bizarre.